Hey, welcome back to the channel. So I'm in our beach condo that we have as a rental. Go check it out on VRBO. But I'm in the rental right now. And if you could have seen this place whenever we first got it, it was kind of a disaster. This video is not about that. That is about this guy right here. Is a farmhouse trestle table, and the table that was in here was a disaster. All the furniture that was in here before was a disaster. And so as my wife and I started to renovate this whole entire place, one of the first things that we wanted to do was replace this table. And I said, well, why don't I try to build a farmhouse trestle table that will look great in here? I've never built one before. And so I thought, why not just give it a try? So that's what I did. And then the finished product, I could not be happier with. It came out so good, so silky smooth. We spend a lot of time here, as most families do, at the dinner table, whether we're eating dinner, eating food, or whether we are playing games, playing card games. We love to play cards and just sit around and have a good time, right? So this table is a centerpiece and a focal piece for our family to get together. And so we knew that it had to be just like really silky smooth, especially if you're going to be playing cards. But it had to be really silky smooth. So in this video, what I thought I would do is I would take you through the process of how I put together and built this table. Learned a lot of lessons in it, had some help in it, but I'm going to break it up into two parts. First, we're going to show you the how to build the bases part, and then I'm going to go back in a second part and show you how I put together this top. And there were some accidents in there that came out great. I like a serendipity kind of thing, some accidental fortune that came out of it with the staining, really. But it really came out great. Couldn't be happier with it. So now let's go ahead and jump into SketchUp. Let's take a look at the plans first, and then we will get into the actual build process step by step. We'll take you the whole way through it. All right. Hey, before we get started though, if you have not subscribed to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. So please subscribe, give it a like, share it, all that fun stuff. Let's get going. All right, so here we are inside SketchUp. And this is just going to be real quick, just to go over the design that I came up with. Pretty straightforward. This is done with all 2x6s, with exception of the centerpieces here, which are 4x4s. So all 3.5 by 3.5. So when you take a look, whenever I measured like our table that we have in our house, in our little kitchenette area, it's 30 inches. And this thing measures, if we run a tape right up here down to the bottom, we're right at, what is that? 29 3/4 right there. Plus the top gets us right close to just over, 31 inches. So this is going to work out great. And whenever I sit at the table, it does feel like it's at the exact right height. But whenever I was designing this, I'd seen some other trestle style bases that I really liked, but I didn't want to come in here with a 4x4 as the center post and have to drill this out and cut this out and chisel this out. I saw other guys do that. I just didn't want to. So I saw this style where they put three basically boards together and left a gap here, and you can see that this gap is 3.5 inches. That's what I wanted for our stabilizer bar to go between. This is 3.5 inches right here. The next part is all this is done with 45 cuts. So everything is on a 45. Makes it very, very easy to do. The top here, 27 inches across. So basically you just cut all your boards, 27, 27, 27, 27. You're going to do that, 8 times. Get these to length that you need them to be. This, if we measured them, if you just need to know, what are you looking at? 12 plus 10, 22 1/4 is what those worked out to be. This is exactly how I built it too. I didn't fudge off of this at all. I actually printed this plan up and went out, and this is exactly how I cut it. The little base, the little footers down here, they are done with little 5-inch blocks on a 45 right there. Very straightforward, but planing the edges, all these round off edges, was very, very important to getting a nice clean look on the front face of this. The only thing I didn't plane were the 4x4s. All the edges on the 4x4 had a rounded edge on it, but everything else I planed off and made them very square. The length of the table that I have in the video is the tabletop is 77 inches. So you'll need to obviously figure out how far apart these are going to be, and then also how long your stabilizer bar is going to be as well based off of that. And it took me a little bit of kind of finagling and getting this whittled down and sanded down to finally be able to fit in the hole, but it came out just fine. Okay. But so now let's go ahead, jump out of SketchUp and jump into the actual build process step by step. Here we go. So before I got started, I actually set up a little jig here. Just put this board in, just giving me enough height to where I can run the planer right over the edge. And just I used one clamp. I was going to put another clamp, through here and then clamp it on, but don't need it. It's nice and stable and sturdy. So, but that helps out, just holding the board in place, keeps it stable. About ready to put the middle piece in. It's all glued up and dried. So made a mark on this one on both sides. Made a mark here on both sides. You can actually see that. And we're going to put glue on this, stand it up. Actually, we're going to lean this up against it, and then we're going to clamp it down and then put screws into the bottom of this, and that'll hold it tight. All right, there you go. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy build to do. I'm back in the shop. The table is at home in the condo. But as you saw, I actually recruited my daughter to actually do a little painting that was super nice of her to do that, and it turned out great. Right after it finished drying, I took about like a 120 grit sandpaper, put it in the sander, and just kind of went over a couple of areas on the table and kind of just scuffed it up to give it a little bit of a distressed look. So hopefully you found this video helpful and you're able to go out and build your own table. So now be on the lookout for the next video coming up where I actually build and go over building the tabletop and also show you how to marry the two together. Hey, but before we go, I would love to get your feedback and comments down below. Also, if you're into this DIY stuff, consider subscribing to the channel and give it a big old thumbs up. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.